Let me ask you how your government explains what's happening right now to journalists in Sri Lanka. For instance, that some 10 of them have been killed in the last 2 years.
I think the way you are positioning your comment and how you are trying to articulate this in terms of propaganda and news is something that I have to disagree, for the reason that there is no person going missing at the expense of our system here. Everyone has equal protection, and there is rule of law prevailing in Sri Lanka, and there's a very strong independence of the judiciary, and that protects everybody's rights. And I think the comments have been taken out of context here. No one will be ever arrested merely one speaks to a media station or speaks on behalf of a media station, and therefore I must correct this position straight off. And for the purpose of record, our government is totally conscious of the media freedom, and everyone is extended the protection of the law.
Well, sir, I must absolutely, unequivocally disagree with you there. Propaganda has absolutely nothing to do with this. When Siobhan Daniel came onto our air earlier on this week, shortly afterwards, the Defence Minister of Sri Lanka then went on television and said that he was a terrorist and that he should be arrested. And now nobody's heard from him. So, obviously there's some sort of a disconnect going on here.
Comment made by the Defence Secretary in terms of whether the person is there or not. How do you know whether the person is where the person is? In the event there are complaints about the person not being there, we are prepared to investigate. Obviously, everyone has the right to have recourse to the legal system in this country. The police is functioning, and it's a very surprising thing how it gets connected with a TV station, then subsequently with an interview the Defence Secretary has given, and now you attribute a missing person to that list.
Okay, well, look, let's just get away from that for now, because I don't think we're ever going to agree on that. Let's just talk about the wider picture with what's happening to the media in Sri Lanka. Last night we had former Prime Minister Ranil Wickremesinghe on our air, and he said that there is no press freedom in Sri Lanka, and he also blamed elements in the government for making sure that that would stay the case. Are you saying then that journalists in Sri Lanka are free to go about their jobs and report exactly what they want to?
If you go through the news media today, in terms of the print and the electronic media, you will have to totally agree with me when I say that everyone has the right of speech and also the right to publish. And this is how Sri Lanka's free media is functioning today. It's a very vibrant arm of our democracy in Sri Lanka. When it comes from opposition voices, obviously there's a divide in a democracy. But sometimes the opposition is not all that responsible with what they try to say to the outside world. That is something very unfortunate. At the same time, every other newspaper, today you can go through all the newspapers that have been printed in Sri Lanka, and the majority are in the private hands, and the free media is very vibrant. And I'm sure that if you go by the substance of what is being said in Sri Lanka by the newspapers and the electronic media, you will agree with me that there's absolutely no hindrance to the free media in Sri Lanka.
There have been accusations that that's not the case, and that the government is in fact behind recent attacks on journalists. In fact, the journalist Lasantha Wickrematunge said that it would be the government